So, I recently made a purchase, a new addition to the Eldritch collection. It's a book some of you might be familiar with, and if not, perhaps this video will be a good entry point into the very popular and very compelling and very addictive game known as Dungeons and Dragons. Hello, and welcome to the Eldritch Collection. My name is Aaron Peterson, and I will be your curator. Today, we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Specifically, what class I think you should play if you're like me and like the darker, weirder, more eldritch things. For anyone who's played 5th edition before, this should come as no surprise to you, but for myself, the last time I played Dungeons and Dragons was 3rd edition, and back then, there was no Warlock. The Warlock is an interesting class because it's a spellcaster that has a relationship with a extra-planar being, whether that's a fey being from the forest, a demon from hell, and you have that Mephistopheles vibe going on when you're playing that character. And the third, and my personal favorite, and the one that I will be playing going forward as I start up again, is the Warlock that's in contact with what is considered a Great Old One. The 5th edition references Cthulhu specifically. These otherworldly beings are called patrons, and they're actually the creatures or the beings that give your character the ability to cast spells. Let me read you the description of the Great Old One patron. Your patron is a mysterious entity whose nature is utterly foreign to the fabric of reality. It might come from the far realm, the space beyond reality, or it could be one of the elder gods known only in legends. Its motives are incomprehensible to mortals, and its knowledge so immense and ancient that even the greatest libraries pale in comparison to the vast secrets it holds. The Great Old One might be unaware of your existence, or entirely indifferent to you, but the secrets you have learned allow you to draw your magic from it. Entities of this type include Gahundar, called That Which Lurks, Thrazodun, the Chained God, Dendar, the Night Serpent, Zargon, the Returner, Great Cthulhu, and other unfathomable beings. It's interesting that the book itself references Cthulhu. So, of course, I was hooked, I was intrigued, and I had to play this character. Picking the race was a little bit of a harder decision for me, and because there was some that were very interesting, and some that I felt told a better story. For example, the human, I thought maybe told the most relatable story, and was perhaps the easiest to explain, or maybe give you the most freedom. I envisioned this character, this sage who worked with a wizard or worked at a wizarding school and started hearing whispers. And these whispers are what drove it to start adventuring, to figure out the secrets to what those whispers were and the strange things that happened whenever those whispers intensified and the spells came forward almost against his will. Another race that I thought would be interesting would be the Dragonborn. Mainly, I'll admit, because I think they look kind of cool. That might be, not the strongest reason to pick a race, but it was one that I found interesting nonetheless. Also, the relationship that the Dragonborn have with their dragon ancestors and with the dragon gods themselves lend themselves to an interesting storytelling device. Maybe the patron is Tiamat or Bahamut themselves, or it could be one of the other Great Old Ones listed in the book. This one, I'll be fair, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's the Tiefling, or the Half-Demon. This one was interesting because there's a little bit more of a literal connection between otherworldly beings and this race, because it's practically an otherworldly being itself. And while that was interesting, I thought role-playing as a Tiefling would be hard, because basically whenever we went to a village, there would have to be the same conversation over and over again of, why do you have horns and look evil? When I'm not necessarily sure that I want to play the character as something evil. So far, my friends and I have only rolled our characters. We haven't started playing yet. That will be next week. And because of that, we haven't really finalized what our alignment is going to be. Our dungeon master wasn't there, but he gave us a couple pointers before we started our character creation session. And because of that inability to know the alignment, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to roleplay the character. I haven't quite finalized the character's background, but I am very excited. And part of that is also because of the gameplay. And by gameplay, I mean the spells that you can cast as a warlock. I find the names alone fairly interesting. Eldritch Blast, Chill Touch, Arms of Hadar, Witch Bolt, Enthrall Invisibility, Shatter, Spider Climb, Fear, Hunger of Hadar, Remove Curse, Vampiric Touch, Blight, Hallucinatory Terrain. That could be fun. Eye Bite, Create Undead. So you could be a little bit more necromantic with your warlocky abilities. Glibness, that's always fun. Power Word Stun. Astral Projection, you could die like Luke Skywalker. Power Word Kill and True Polymorph. That sounds like a frustrating curse to be put under. There are many other spells that I'm sure will also be interesting, and I'm very excited to see how they will be taken by the rest of the party and the NPCs that we encounter. I'm excited to see what challenges will come up ahead, and I'm just excited for the experience of collaborative storytelling, especially in a world that allows you to so directly roleplay as a person in a Lovecraftian story. And even though the main storyline that our party follows may not touch on the otherworldly beings that much, it will be fun to at least have that idea tickling the back of my head in whispers and die rolls. Oh, also, I have to kind of like show off my dice a little bit because I'm really excited about them. I really like the colors, the blues, the blacks, the greens. It's very mysterious and murky and otherworldly themselves. So it'll be fun just playing with the dice. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.